Hi everyone, it's the 9th of March. My name is Chrissy, I live here in Australia, and today I'm going to be giving you a channel prediction reading for the 9th of March. Now, I am actually going to focus particularly in this video on something that keeps coming up constantly in my mind. I've had it for probably the last few months to weeks to just keeps coming up, and I have to talk about it, is the Great Awakening. Now, I think most of us out there by now have sort of woken up to the Great Reset, and I think a lot of people are pushing back and they're fighting against these things being implemented because we clearly know how that's going to end. Not great. A lot of people don't want a dictatorship and they don't want to live under that sort of communist rule like China does, because even Trudeau in Canada has talked about how he admires China's dictatorship, and I think we're sort of figuring putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, and it's kind of all adding up to the Great Reset has been getting implemented over the last couple of years. I don't think anyone could really deny that unless you've got your eyes closed and you're asleep, which, gosh, some people seem to be. Not their fault though, that's due to the mass psychosis. But I just want to really focus on the Great Awakening and see if anything comes through around this particular subject, just purely because I keep seeing that word in quotations. So I'm just going to close my eyes and we'll just see what comes through. So I'm getting this as a passage of that you earn, like you earn the right to be awake. The freedoms are coming, the divides are going, the herd immunity is no longer going to be talked about. I feel like the herd immunity issues are waning. It's not being discussed any further. They're trying to sort of collapse that narrative themselves now. The leaders are trying to quieten that down, but they're also trying to collapse that narrative because, like I think I said yesterday, they don't want any more people rising up because that gives them too much push back, and they don't want that. They want to implement these things sort of by going under the radar, which we know they've been very good at doing for the last 2 years. So no surprises there. That they're pretty good, these global leaders, and they're actually masters of it at manipulating and getting things to sort of slide under the radar. That's what they're doing, because they are the masters of planning. So they just do like a regroup and they reassess and then they implement a new plan. And I think there's no shocks or surprises there. I'll see what else comes through. Now they're saying that the Great Awakening sends chills up people's spines. So this is the Great Awakening, they're saying, is a vibrational shift in energy. So they're showing me like, it's like a mattress. So they're showing me a mattress and it's got the spring coils. It's like an old-fashioned mattress, because I don't think you can even get mattresses anymore with spring coils. Gosh, they even come in the post and you can just pop them out and they just unfold. It's like crazy. But the one they're showing me particularly is the ones with the spring coils. Now, each spring coil in these mattresses represents people. So each one of these is a person, and if you think of a bed, you think of a body laying on it, and this is the body of people, and this is what they're representing, this the Great Awakening, which is kind of funny that they're using a bed, isn't it, when it comes to the Great Awakening. But this is the connection of the analogy. The springs are the people, and it's that waking and getting out of bed. Now, this is actually happening, and that's the connection of the mattress, but it's the old-fashioned mattress. so it's almost like it's a little bit of an uneven mattress. You know how you lay on it and you get a few, you might even get a bad back if it's too sunken in the middle. So this is what you're getting. There's still a lot of this unevenness in the awakening process. So like some people have sprung right up and they're in their full sort of spiritual body, and other people are sort of halfway there. Some are a quarter of the way there. But this is what they're saying. This is about that waking up, and that's why they're using the bed analogy, because people are waking up, but they're waking up at different levels. Like I said about the springs in the mattress, they're waking up, and they're slowly expanding. So again, this is, I've talked about that before, about these as soul rebuilds and rebirths. So this is where people are starting to expand into that wider sort of consciousness now. They're looking at their other senses to provide them information. So I talk about a lot of telepathy starting to happen. People are listening to their gut feelings more. They're sensing something isn't quite right. Things aren't adding up. Again, I get that. Things aren't adding up. So it's like I said the other week, if you do the maths, it's not adding up. These equations aren't coming out with the right answer. So that's what the Great Awakening is. This is about soul growth. It's about, it's almost like a reboot of the soul. So if we think of a computer or something that's kind of playing up your phone or a gadget, this is like switching yourself off and then rebooting yourself again and using your whole body. And I feel like that's what the Great Awakening is about. It's about starting to use our whole body, our mind, body, spirit, physical, mental. It's about having the smarts to see beyond things. You know, I talk a lot about taking those rose-colored glasses off, but this is even more. This is about seeing behind the veils. And I think we can all see pretty much that the veils are lifting. Because we know that Pfizer's had to come out with all their adverse reactions. I think I heard something yesterday about Fauci's gone into witness protection. I don't even know what that's about. Message me below if anyone knows what's going on there, because we only get snippets over here in Australia. So these veils are kind of lifting, and there's a few veils. There's not just one. We're not like, you know how you see a bride and she has one veil and you lift it back and there's her beautiful face. Well, that's kind of not the veil we're talking about here. We're talking about like veil after veil after veil. It's almost like sheer curtains. If you think of sheer curtains, you push one back and then there's another curtain. There's like this endless number of curtains we've got to get through in order to get that real clarity. But this is why it's about the rebirth and the regrowth of our souls. And I really believe that's what the Great Awakening is. Of course, we still have choices and we can still just stay on the road that we want to stay on. You know, I always do these analogies around trains because I think that's an easy one for people to relate to. But you can still choose your path or your train or whatever you want to use in your mind as your image, or you can choose another direction. And that's sort of saying that we all have that free will. And that's what the Great Awakening is. This is about finding courage. It's about finding strength. It's about not harboring old wounds and things that have damaged us from the past. This is about moving forward with our lives and making really big changes and shifts that are going to create a happier future for us as an individual. I'm definitely getting that to do with the Great Awakening. People are wanting to really spice their life up now, and I feel like around this subject that people are really wanting to find joy. There's been no joy and happiness over the last couple of years. Gosh, we're nearly going into 2.5 years of this now. And people are just tired of it. It's basically just been a boring existence. I'm going to just come out and say it. We were forced to do as we're told, sit in the corner, zip our mouths, and I think enough of us out there can say we've been fact-checked beyond measure. I know YouTube channels get shut down here and there. Every time you put something on, they're being given a strike, or even what's it called? The Hill. Sorry, I think it's in America. with Kim Everson, is it? They got a strike and then they got shut down for a bit the other day. Like, it's getting just ridiculous. And they're the only sort of channels that give us the true information. So this is where it's just getting nuttier and nuttier now. Like, how much can they keep putting, shutting everybody down? But the thing is, the global movement, and I've said it before, of the truckers, that was the start of the awakening process, because their vibration was so huge and it had, like I said, that rippling effect, and it has gone out and people are waking up. And that's why they're showing me the mattress, and that this is what it is. It's that connection to getting out of bed and waking up and starting to see things. You're no longer in the darkness. You're now in that light, and you're heading towards brighter and brighter light. And that can be your future if you focus on that and just put all your thoughts and energy into that. Even me as a psychic, I've had to learn to put my energy on the things that I care about and the things that are important to me. I had a lot of people over here who were constantly, I talk about a lot, my friends and people like that, who just thought I was completely crazy and completely mad. And I had to get to the point where I just stopped putting energy on that anymore. And I started to focus on you guys, like my subscribers and the people out there around the world that are like me, and that we're sharing conversations and we're interacting with each other, and it feels really good to have like-minded people. So this is the journey of the Great Awakening, is that connecting with people again, fighting for our freedoms, wanting to make our decisions, making a stance against these tyrannical dictatorships and governments that are trying to rule our globe. It's not, the world is being taken over by these tyrants, and we have to stand, and we do have to fight, because otherwise, if we don't push back, they're just going to come like a big bulldozer and squash all of us, and that'll be that. On we go with the communist regime, I'm guessing. But I'll see if anything else comes through for the Great Awakening. So I'm getting like an Olympic Games. Sorry, the Great Awakening, I keep getting a really scratchy throat, because the chimney, well, they say that your throat and your voice is like the chimney of the house where all the smoke and things come out. Well, it's the same with our voices. It's kind of where all that information can pour out. So when you've had a lot of blockages, it makes your throat very sort of scratchy and a little bit tight is probably the word I'm looking for. But I'll get back to the analogy. The analogy that they're giving me is around the torch relay. So when you're thinking of the torch relay in the Olympic Games or Commonwealth Games or something like that, it starts in an original spot. So they light the flame and that person gets the relay baton and it's the flames going, and then they keep passing that baton as they go along. So until they get to the actual sort of Olympic cauldron or the stadium or whatever you want to call it, and they light that main centerpiece, that's what they're kind of showing me. So I'd say we're probably about halfway to 3/4 along the baton relay, and we're holding it up. And this is the example, because what they're showing me is Canada was the original start point for this relay, and this is the Great Awakening. So the next person might have been America. The next one was definitely Australia. We're part of the relay team. New Zealand, Germany, you name it. There are protests that have just gone pop and risen up, and that's where they've passed this baton, and we are lighting up this world as we go. So you have to keep fighting. For any light workers or freedom fighters or anyone who's starting to see and awaken to what's going on, keep that light going. So run with that baton and that light, because we're gonna get there. We're making really big inroads, and we're gonna get to that final part where we light up the whole world. And that's the goal. We've got to keep our minds. I know that sounds like an enormous task, but hey, we can do it. Look at the changes that have already taken place, right around the globe. Mandates have been dropped even here in Australia and the mandates are dropped in New South Wales, and so many things are changing. A lot of people have been really defiant about getting the booster shot. These are the kind of things that are starting to make change is this relay baton running, keeping that light going. So look, I want to leave you with that today. I want to leave you with that image of keep that light strong, keep it going, keep it burning, and just know that we are progressing. We're making really big inroads. So look, stay strong. We'll get to that main big thing at the end, I'm sure, if we just keep going. And it's going to take everybody to kind of come together and stand up. And I say that all the time. If you're out there and you're isolated, find like kind. It doesn't matter where you find them. Get that support around you. I noticed that even people like Robert Malone, I think it's John Campbell, there's a few others, they're also finding support by grouping together. There's a senator that's also fighting in America for the adverse reactions and things like that. They're coming together because that's how they regain their strength. Rather than just being squashed as a single kind of identity, they are coming together. And I think we all know that Joe Rogan's had a big pivotal part in this relay baton process as well. A lot of people went and checked out his channel, I'm sure, after all the controversy. So look, please stay strong, stay healthy. That's really important as well. Like I said, get your focus on the things that you're really wanting, because that's how we're starting to make this movement. And look, people are waking up. Don't just get disheartened that people aren't, because people are. Keep sharing messages, keep putting them out there. Share my videos. I love hearing from you guys. Comment, like. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you want to go check out my other 2022 videos and see what's been happening this year. It's always good to look back at. And look, I will see you in that next video. Please take care, stay strong, and hi from Australia, and I will see you very soon. Bye, everyone.